Hello, Star Wars CCG folks. Garrett Larson here, back with Game 2 of the Matthew Harrison-Trainor versus Greg Shaw Champions League match. If you missed the first game, or you're watching this later on YouTube, which is an awesome way to keep up with all the live goings on and stuff with Star Wars and games that are streamed, Matt won the first game by 13 force in a Shadow Collective versus Durin Remains match. These guys did have to lock the decks beforehand, so we're not going to see Greg be able to sell out on a deck that can win by a bunch, but maybe is sort of a one-trick pony type thing. These decks were locked ahead of time. I don't know what they are, so I'm just as pleased as you to get to see them live. I definitely feel like my commentary is a little more fun that way. I like being surprised. I like not knowing, hey, this is exactly what's going to happen. I like being surprised. So, that being said, we'll give them a second to get ready to go here. I do expect this will still be a close game. I'm trying to remember what Greg has locked up for Darkside. The only deck I know he played, I got to play against it, was Walkers. He played Walkers against me in the qualifying round and soundly beat the Mind Which You've Learned I Made a Mistake in playing. So he's got a lot of decks available to him right now. We'll see where what he goes with here. Just kind of chatting a little bit while we wait for the game to get started, while we wait for MHT to get back and start it up. Again, this is the Champions League. The Champions League is comprised of players that won or did well in their different regional and state level events and leagues over the last couple of years. So it is generally very good players, I mean myself accepted, but it's good players who have a history of playing well in their leagues and local events. If you are looking for a league to join, you're like, hey, this sounds like fun, I want to try getting into it next year, the forums are a spectacular place to find players who you are looking for. And here, so we see Greg going with Hunt Down V and Matt going with Watch Your Step. This is interesting. It's a match that, certainly Hunt Down can play very well into it. Greg, starting with Crush, tells me he might be going to get Mustafar, which is not a good card against Watch Your Step. As we see, Matt starts the I Must Be Allowed to Speak combo, which says he can't modify his drains where he has two smugglers can't be modified, so that Mustafar system, Greg would be giving up a drain of two, so he may wait on putting that out and may just decide not to. Otherwise, pretty standard start. Walkling, Squadron Assignments, and Smuggler's Blues combo. Greg with another pretty straightforward start. There'll be many hunting you, Crush, and I Am Your Father V. Greg's probably just going to drop a Vader as soon as he can, and, very potentially start right in the Cantina if he's got a Vader. Huntdown's goal here is the same as Huntdown's goal is every game. End it quick, cause a bunch of damage, get Visage running, whatever. Huntdown is traditionally not a great match for Watch Your Step because you burn so hard, you run the risk of them, Lightside runs the risk of just losing the cards they need too early. But it's certainly not an unwinnable matchup. This is definitely a matchup where play skill comes into effect a little bit, and some of it's just flat out, who gets the cards they need when. And this is going to be a fun match, because any game where it's only a slight edge type thing and it really comes down to play skill and it comes down to watching these guys who are very good players do very good things is fun. Like, that's, I love doing this commentary gig, and that's really what I enjoy, is watching good players play good Star Wars and being wrong a whole bunch. Greg goes and grabs the one of Malachor's sites. We saw Matt get the Outrider with the All Wings combo. That tells me he may have either Han or the Falcon in hand already, although he might just be willing to go Outrider to Corellia. Costs him very little, and it's a nice way to just get things started. We see Greg using Crush to go get the Devastator, Mustafar, or a private platform. I expect he wants the private platform. Like I said, Mustafar feels like a rough play here. The Mustafar system, you don't have the space to hang with Watch Your Step in space, and giving them a Drain of 2 there just feels unpleasant. Like, I know you want the Force, but I don't know if I want the Force that badly. So Greg, with 6 Force right now, has got to decide if he's got a Vader in hand. Does he want to play it from hand? Does he want to use the Vader's Castle text to go get a Vader? Does he say, you know what, if I lose 1 to Visage this turn, that's fine, I'm going to put somebody else down instead? Oh, Greg says, I got a Vader in hand, and Lord Vader is going to the Cantina. I'm assuming we will see a Saber with I Am Your Father here. Oh, no Saber, so he did not have a Saber in hand, and he didn't use Visage to go get one, which is a little bit of surprise. Oh, yeah, he took the Dark Jedi lightsaber with Visage, and so he must have activated Vader's Saber. Probably not the worst thing ever, and this is not a... Hey, Jeff, how's it going? This is not a game where I expect Greg's going to go try and jump Vader right now, like... Or excuse me, Matt's going to try and go jump Vader right now. Like, Vader's still immune to less than 6. He's still 7 power. You only have 8 Force. Like, you don't have enough Force to flip, battle, and try and kill Vader. Although, honestly, if he had 3 cheap smugglers, I could see worse plays. Alright. So Matt activates, and before he grabs the system, he uses squadron assignments to go to flash R2 and Red 5 and get a Luke to Tatooine. Well, I'm already confused. I'm not sure what he's doing with this deck. So it is Premier, it's Virtual Set 1 Luke. I think one of the only cards that has never been changed from Virtual Set 1. Luke is +3. If piloting at a battleground, can take a Dark Light or Spin into hand or retrieve a Force. Matt grabs Corellia. Uses I Must Be Allowed to Speak to go grab Mos Eisley. The Luke's a little bit of a surprise. You don't usually see Space Luke in Watch Your Step now. Watch Your Step's traditionally now been running a lot more Luke Jedi Knight and using the space of, like, Lando, Han, Dash on the Outrider, etc. And Matt says we're going to play something different. So, and we see Jeff saying he saw Matt playing probably this exact deck earlier, using Mirax to cycle R2 and Red 5, so you've got a bunch of 7s floating around, and then Fallen Portal at the docking bay. I played that deck too. I played it 15 years ago when it was popular. That being said, I think it's a solid deck, and it's definitely something. Ooh, that dash off the top is not what Matt wanted, as he went and got the Outrider last turn. And now we see the Vader Saber, so kind of what I said. Greg's right now just saying, alright, I'm going to start the damage train, I'm going to burn you as hard as I can, as long as I can. And that's not a terrible play. Like, we see Greg got secret plans. I kind of expect he'll also go get, especially with Dash sitting there. I'm a little surprised he hasn't already gone and gotten Come Here, You Big Coward. Because if I'm Matt, I might be thinking about, you can't use Walkling right now and give up. Yeah, I think you got to wait so you can Walkling for Kessel Run before you lose it to get back Dash, but I'd really want to get Dash back here. And Greg says, yep, I'm good. I'm just going to draw some here. Like right now, Greg says, I'm draining for 3. You're draining for 1. You're losing to Visage. I'm not. Let's make you make a play. And obviously, it's very early. This isn't, I'm not sitting here when they both have 40 cards in reserve going, well, game's over. Vader of the Cantina, that's it. Pack it in. But Greg's pushing the action, which is very good for him. And there we see the useless gesture combo. Like I said, if I'm Greg, I think I gotta put out Coward. And there's Coward. Yeah, you don't want him getting that Dash back. Dash is too good in space because Greg probably has some space. How much is probably open for interpretation, but I would expect we'll see like a Maul and Scimitar, an Emperor's Shuttle, plus Emperors. If he's running Oppressive Enforcement, then that might be it. If he's not, or not Imperial Enforcement, if he's not running Imperial Enforcement, you could certainly see something like a Zuckuss and Mist Hunter. And some of those options. So Matt activates. He uses Luke to go grab a Dark Lighter Spin, which is a very solid play. Like, you'd like Dark Lighter Spins. Now, it's possible, Dash being as strong as he is in the deck, Matt might be running 2 of them. But, yeah, losing that Dash is going to hurt. So now Matt, who won the first game by 13, so he's in match play format, he needs to just not lose by more than 13. I wouldn't necessarily be shocked to see a pay to drain here. Like, you already have 10 cards in hand, unless you're planning to deploy a bunch or draw a bunch, like, start burning Force. And Matt, of course, doesn't listen to me, goes right to deploy. He's squadron assignments for the Falcon and misses. He may have Kessel in hand. That would be the only thing you wouldn't have grabbed with. Only reason you wouldn't have searched first with Watch Your Step. That's a little unfortunate though. Like, unless that was the only ship in his hand or the only combo he could hit. I almost think even if you have Kessel in hand, you search with Watch Your Step first just to make sure you don't miss with the ship plus pilot combo you want to hit. I gotta think we're going to see a Walkling to grab Kessel Run unless he activated it. So, there's the wild card. 2 Tatooine with Luke. That's cute. Like, I like the wild card. It's solid in here. It's great with smugglers. Like, it's not a bad card, and there's Talon Card piloting it. But it's cute is sort of the extent of it. Like, it's a solid card, and it'll do good things, and it's a good ship to have. So Matt grabs a card with I Must Be Allowed to Speak, Smuggler's Blues, because he deployed. And there he gets the Millennium Falcon V along with Han Solo V. So now Han adds 1 to the drains while piloting this Falcon. So it is a drain of... Yeah, while Han aboard. I'm like, somewhere it says drain +1. So Han does add 1 of the drains with the Falcon. So he's now draining for 2 there, which is good. He's still just not doing a ton. And like, we don't see Kessel out. We don't see Kessel Run going. He's going to burn another card to Visage here. He can potentially use the objective to control that drain of 3. And honestly, he might have to. Like, you feel a little bad burning those cards that quickly, but I think that's, unless you've got either another control in hand or it's a hit. I think you've got to just plan for, yep, I'm going to lose and control this drain. So Matt is still sitting his deploy. I think he might be contemplating putting another smuggler with Han, if he's got one, just to get that second battle destiny. So then he's actually drawing 3 because Han, or no, he's drawing 2. Han draws if unable to otherwise. So it's solid, exactly the setup you expect with Watch Your Step. And Matt says, yep, I'm just going to draw a couple here. He'll lose 1 to Visage. Like I said, I'm still a little surprised on not getting Dash back. I think Dash, you only have so many smugglers and so many ships, and you're going to want to be covering at least the 3 systems. Like, Dash might be very good with that, but Matt knows his deck better than me, and there goes Kira from reserve deck as well. That one's actually going to sting more, because the Kira ping, when she drains, when you have Kessel Run done, is really nasty. And here we see Greg says, yep, I'm going to drain you for 3. And it looks like Matt's got to be thinking about controlling it from Lost. Like, I don't know. I don't know that you want to be losing 3 right away. Yep, and that's exactly what he's going to do, is pay the 1, play the control from Lost, and say, okay, this is where this has to go. At this point, Greg's got 13 cards in hand. I expect we'll probably see a Inquisitor with a Dark Jedi Saber at Mos Eisley, and a come make something happen. And Greg does move into deploy phase. Like I said, he can theoretically go get Mustafar. It wouldn't shock me if Mustafar's in his deck. I don't know that I'd want to play it. So instead of going to Mos Eisley, he just says, all right, I'm going to throw Mara at the Drain +1 site, the upper chamber. So Greg doesn't have Menace Fades in play. Or excuse me, Matt doesn't have Menace Fades in play, and even if he does, he doesn't satisfy it, so you just say that's a drain that can't be controlled, or it's a hit, and there's no chance of it being a drain -1 because Lord Vader has to abandon the cantina if Matt comes down with a bunch of smugglers and some problems. So here we see Matt does activate. He gets back Kira with Luke, which is good. Like I said, Kira is a huge yeah, the first game, it decided not to show it. Okay, let's fix that. I see it. It was I typed it all up, and it decided to overwrite. So, first game, Matt won by 13, and so we see Matt again choosing not to drain. Matt is apparently a firm believer in the don't pay to drain school, and he goes for the Millennium Falcon pull to pull Chewie and misses. That's unfortunate, and I think that All Wings was a bait. So he played All Wings and grabbed the Pulsar Skate. I think he was really hoping Greg would grab that, because I think Greg, especially if Jeff, who said in chat that this is a Fallen Portal shenanigans deck, Greg definitely was trying to bait out the grabber. Say, hey, grab that All Wings combo. That's probably not going to be that impactful, because I doubt there's going to be a ton of space battles. And even if there are, probably nothing to cap his destinies, which is the big power of All Wings, is you can use it. If your opponent says you only get to draw 1, you can be like, well, I'll All Wings first, and then I'll draw a second one type thing. Where that's probably not going to happen much in this game. And there's Corrin Horn to the docking bay. So now he satisfies battle order, or battle plan. He's going to grab a card with I must be allowed to cheat, Smuggler's Blues. I gotta imagine it's going to be another smuggler. Like, you gotta think Mara or somebody's coming down there to join Corrin. Leaving Corrin alone feels like a bad idea. Greg's definitely running Blaster controls in this deck. Whether he can get it or not, separate conversation, but like, there's got to be some stuff for him to go after here. Okay. Apologize, I had to stop there. My foster kittens are yelling at each other. So, Matt grabs a card with Corrin. And, I mean, he's still got 6 force left. He can certainly, deploy another smuggler with Corrin, and I gotta expect he's going to. I am still a little surprised we have not yet seen a whatchamacallit? Kessel yet. And yeah, the Jeff the Falcon will not get the drain bonus because Smuggler's Blues says, well, you have 2 smugglers, opponent cannot cancel or modify force drains. Canceling the force drain is obviously just straight canceling it. Modifying is specifically plus or minus to it. Canceling the bonus is not a modification, and the objective on the 7 side would cancel that bonus. However, Matt just landed Luke, got him out with Corrin at the docking bay, and says, basically screams, I got a fallen portal, how about you? And Greg's going to have to do something about it. Like, Greg may just have to walk into that portal and grab it, and just hope not to do too much more of that. And we see the Pulsar Skate land as well, so Matt is all in on holding that docking bay. It does, however, leave him a little bit exposed in space right now. Like, Tatooine's okay because unless you've got a Independent or Trade Federation starship, you're only drawing one Battle Destiny there, and the wild card is immune to less than 5, and it is adding 1 to its total because of Talon Card being on it. But, again, if Greg's not running Imperial Enforcement so he can run some of the non-Imperial things, he could absolutely be running Zuckuss and Mist Hunter, Boba Fett, whatever. And now we see the Walkling go out of play. Pay 1 to retrieve that dash, because that might be the extent of his space. Like, we see the Luke, we see Mirax, we see Talon on the wild card, we see Han on the Falcon. Like, what else do you have? Theron Net on red 10, maybe? And then Dash in the Outrider. Like, you need those things, and I think Matt might be waiting on putting out Kessel until he can go there. Simply because right now Greg's being fairly effectively choked. Like, Greg's only activating 11 a turn, but Greg's set up right now. Like, he's got his 2 locations. He's got a full 14 card hand. And he's got to do something here. So, Matt, sitting on 4 active force, says he's got an alternatives, he's got things to play during battle to make sure he doesn't get hit too hard. Greg goes for the location, which is good. He'll get that other 0 out of his deck. Bump his activation up 1. That's the one kind of downside of racing Vader out. If your opponent doesn't flip you back right away, you're stuck with that 0 floating in reserve for a little while, and you feel kind of bad about it. Like, it's not fun to have 0s floating in there, and it limits your activation, which is also unpleasant. So he gets that, and here's a force push. Matt will not be sensing that force push, or actually it was Greg who sensed the force push, but Matt can't sense the force push. The flip side of his objective says you can't play Sensor Alter, and neither can your opponent. So we see the force push. That screams to me that Greg either needs 1 card from for his Emperor Shuttle Tarkin combo, or has the combo but wants something like the blast door controls to just say you can't stop this. Um, that's what he's got to do. I mean, he has a full hand. There's definitely going to be 2 high destiny cards. He can be like, all right, I'll put these back to go get something, but I think that's going to be the play. Is I think he's got to have something, and there it is. The blaster controls V. So that cancels Blast the Door Kid, Narrow Escape, and Rebel Barrier, and if they just canceled a battle or moved someone away, they lose 1 force. So, like, if he drops on top of Han on the Falcon, and with the shuttle, and we see something like an alternatives to fighting, he is still going to cause a ping, which is good. Alright, so Greg drops the Grand Inquisitor in front of the pile of dudes. Honestly, that's probably not a bad thing. Like, the pile of dudes is also still fairly low impact. It's only 7 power. Yeah, you're drawing 2 Battle Destiny, and you got a pile of forfeit between 3 dudes and 2 ships, but, like, Grand Inquisitors, you're not taking overflow on the flip side if you just start the battle here. Like, you start the battle, you hit a dude with the saber. There's Tarkin, so now you're drawing 2 to their 2. As Tarkin adds 1 with an Imperial leader, and the Grand Inquisitor is a leader. Tarkin also soaks up 6 forfeit. I gotta think you're gonna expect to lose more than 6 forfeit here. Like, there's the 5th brother, so Greg says, I'm gonna make you lose stuff. And there's the enforcement, so it does mean Greg's space is likely limited to Emperor on the shuttle. And there's a Day Long Remembered, which is just more ping and cancels the... If they lose a battle, they lose a force. Like, he's just going straight heavy pings. There's the Dark Jedi Saber on the Inquisitor. He says, I think, worst case scenario, Maul or Tarkin and the brother will cover whatever you can draw against me. And first strike, because Greg wants to make you lose force. There's the aim high from Matt. Pretty straightforward play, you know. That this is not a big deal. I will say, like, Matt normally you'd be like, all right, he's got Chewie, so first strike, aim high might not be necessary. But he used the once per game pull. He doesn't have another shot at Chewie necessarily. This is a strong play. Greg chooses not to pay to retrieve. He burnt most of his cards. Like, he dumped his entire hand here, putting all this together. And there's the It's a Trap from Matt to cancel the battle. And it is, however, going to cause a ping from Blast Door Controls. So we'll see what Matt chooses to lose, and Greg might be contemplating grabbing that simply because you don't want him to keep having it. Like, you blew a decent amount of cards to set up this battle, and you don't want him to just It's a Trap again. So I think that's the math Greg's kind of doing in his head, is if I grab it now, or do I let it go and next turn he can pay 6 between first strike plus the stack to play it from Lost Pile, like. And Greg decides that grabbing it on Allegations is the right play. He says, I don't want you to be able to keep running it. Hey, Ellie, how's it going? So, and Matt's got to lose a force now, and he chooses to lose a Rebel Barrier from hand. Solid force loss. Good card to pitch. I expect at this point Greg's he may just draw those 2. And then he's got to lose 1 to Visage. I mean, he doesn't need another force for really anything else. And he'll, I'm sure, put a Day Long Remember. Yep, he's going to cycle the Day Long Remember. That's just a solid in Hunt Down V, where you really just, you like doing lots of ping damage. That ping is valuable. You know, it's a 6 destiny that pings for 1. It messes with their immunity to attrition if they have it. Like, it's a solid card. And Greg loses a 6 off the top. He loses an Emperor Palpatine, so I did. Yeah, no, I think the landing both ships was fine. Like, that was, it was the landing both ships gave him the second destiny and a bunch of forfeit. Like, I don't think you would have wanted... Just leaving Luke up there would have been cute. Like, I think you could have left Luke up there and just been like, alright, I have Mirax and Corrin. But you have to consider if Greg had a way to stop that, it's a trap. Just Mirax and Corrin can get stomped pretty easily. Like, you don't have much power there. You've got a chunk of forfeit, but that might not be enough. And Matt peeks using Talon Card and sees that Greg has a sniper combo, which would have been bad. Like, that sniper combo is a hit a smuggler, take him out of the battle entirely. And there's the Kessel that we talked about that I do think Matt was holding until he could do something with it. And there's the Kessel run. So now he's got to stack some cards there and hope for some good destiny so he can flip quick. Or not flip, but there's a 4. There's a 5, so that puts him up to 9. I think at this point, a 4 would be huge. Like, that'd be as quick as you can reliably expect. There's a 2, so that's going to slow it down a little bit. Now he's at 11, so probably gets it here. 2 gets it. That puts him to 13. He just needed to exceed 12. So that is it. Yeah, I mean, there's no chance Matt's starting a battle here. Matt's moving guys right now. Unless he can draw into or find like a fallen portal, there's just no value in starting this battle. And portal would be the card that would be most obnoxious. Like, fallen portal could be real bad for Greg. You know, because if Matt knows what he's drawing into, a portal could take out both the Fifth Brother and Tarkin. Because Fifth Brother's defense value -2. When with a Jedi Padawan or a Hatred card, there's a Hatred card there, so they both just defense value 3. So fallen portal on a total of 6, you just need to draw a 5. There's a lot of 5s floating in that deck. That would be a high risk, high reward play, though. I think if I'm Matt, I might just go for the portal on Tarkin, because anything other than a 1 kills Tarkin. So, that being said, I don't know if you necessarily go with that. Like, I think Matt's got to decide here. He's got a lot of things he's got to figure out, because I think you've got to get the Falcon to Kessel, or you get the wild card to Kessel and start getting those coaxium cards back. And yeah, you can't start this battle because you can't Fallen Portal a battle you initiated. So I don't know. I mean, I could see like move the wild card to Tatooine or to Kessel, fly Mirax and the Skate up to Tatooine, and then move everybody over to Mos Eisley. There's Captain Lando, who's fine. Gives him if you move Corrin and Luke over, you still are drawing 2 battle destinies there. Because you saw the sniper, but Greg doesn't have any more sabers. Like, Greg's sabers are in play. He's got a Dark Jedi saber, he's got a Vader saber, and they're both there. And we see move Corrin and Luke over. And yep, Mirax jumps on the Skate. Look at me suggesting things that actually occur. It's almost like I know how to play this game. And we'll see the wild card move over to Kessel. Or excuse me, we see the Falcon move to Kessel, wild card move to Tatooine. Because Luke's on table, that Force Train bonus can't be slowed down, and Greg is currently shield busted. Like, Greg can't play a resistance shield to limit that Kessel drain to 2, and his Tarkin is in play, so he's not going to get to... I mean, he can still throw Emperor plus anybody at Han on the Falcon and potentially do some damage, but we saw him lose an Emperor. Like, he's got 5 cards in hand. If he had an Emperor and a Shuttle, I feel like blowing out Han would have been the play instead of going after him on the ground. So we see Talon card, Shuttle down from the wild card. Okay. Like, the reality is Tatooine's not a dangerous spot. Greg is not going at you at Tatooine. Not with Enforcement in play, where he's only drawing 1 Battle Destiny there. So you just go with it and see where this goes. So Matt draws. He saves 4, which is probably an alternatives. Like, he can't get another it's a hit off, or it's a trap off with that. Now, Greg's hand is going to really decide what he does here, because, I mean, he could just race drains here. Like, so the downside of taking off with Luke is then you flip the objective back, and when you flip that objective back, now you're only draining for 2 at Kessel instead of 4. Like, frankly, that drain of 4 at Kessel is more valuable to Matt, especially in the I want to make Greg lose cards part of this game, because we know where Matt is with having already won game 1 by 13. That's a big dig. So we see Matt plays the it could be worse to cancel or reduce the drain of 2 to 0. That does leave him short on force, and Greg does have cards. That's what I'm here for. It's not just the pretty face. I'm here to give you solid knowledge about the game state and why I wouldn't do something that someone else would, because, you know, Matt and Greg are far better players than me and have proven multiple times that they don't listen to me. The pretty face is just a bonus, Greg. You are 100% right. So that's why you don't see it on here, because the pretty face is really just for radio. So Greg stops after that first drain. He's going after him. So 7th Sister in front of the pile at Mos Eisley, and many hunting you to cancel Lando's text. Lando can go get a Destiny 4 interrupt, and MHT says, yeah, fine, cancel his text. He's forfeit fodder right now. And Greg's going to grab a card with 7th Sister. This, again, just tells me he didn't have the space to go after the Falcon, because if he had it, that's absolutely the play. That drain of 4 is going to hurt. And that drain of 4 is going to hurt hard. Because Greg doesn't have another saber. He doesn't have a way to kill Luke. Like, if you had a way to kill Luke, maybe you do that. Instead, he'll move the Grand Inquisitor over, and MHC grabs a coaxium card off Kessel, and we see Vader move. I don't love that. The Vader move, okay, so he moves Vader and then he moves Tarkin into the Cantina. You got to move the brother with Tarkin. Like, you couldn't leave the Cantina undefended. There we go. He moves the brother with Tarkin. So if Matt moves anywhere, he's moving into potential damage. Right now, Matt and Greg both have 7 cards in hand. Dan, who is the tech guru, and I have talked about, we need I'm not sure why something's zooming in a little weirdly or something, but I've tried everything, which is actually nothing, and I'm all out of ideas. I tried to fix it, don't know why it wasn't working, and I gave up because it doesn't. I am not a techno guru. So they both have 7 cards in hand. Greg's slightly up on force. He's got 24 down to Matt's 21. But again, Matt's got a Kessel Run in play, and Matt's going to drain for 5 this turn. Like, that drain of 4 is going to hurt. being shield busted, not being able to get resistance out is bad. I think Greg might be kicking himself on that secret plans. He played that when Luke came out, and I think he could have been like, well, I'll put out Coward to stop the first Luke retrieval and hang on so I don't get busted and I can get resistance in play, because, yeah, like I said, that drain of 4 is gonna sting badly. And Matt activates everything he can. He leaves himself 4 in reserve, which is a blank, and then It Could Be Worse, and the 2 force he had for the It Could Be Worse. There's the drain of 4 after we lose the Daylong Remembered, and then the 4 is a Palpatine, Force Push, Third Sister, and Image of the Dark Lord. So a whole bunch of really good destinies. And yep, so Matt just got to the peak and sees he's got an Emperor's Personal Shuttle to potentially deal with. But again, like, Greg's now lost 2 Emperors. So Greg would have to have in that 7-card hand an Emperor, the shuttle, which we know he has. He has a sniper, so that's one of those cards. So now there's a 5 blank cards. That needs to be an Emperor plus a pilot to have any chance. I think he just got busted. He dropped the Grabber right away. He dropped Secret Plans right away. And then the Watch Your Step Shield. And then he dropped Come Here, You Big Coward to stop the retrieval of Dash, who was lost real early, and try and keep him off that Dash. I think the Secret Plans was a mistake. I think holding that off so you can get resistance, because you got to know that you're going to have to do something to the Kessel Drain, and if Matt can keep Luke on table, which you got to expect he can with Watch Your Step, and there Shaw says, you know how to pick them, as he's given away 2 very, very impactful cards in terms of knowledge, knowing that he has the sniper, knowing that he has the shuttle. And there's Boshak, Gritty Smuggler. If you complete a Kessel Run, your total power is +2. Once during battle, you may use a force to subtract 1 from an opponent's Sister on Destiny, or cancel an attempt to cancel and redraw a Destiny. So with the enforcement out, that's actually pretty strong. The stopping your opponent's redraw if they draw bad is generally pretty good. Val's probably going to hit Tarkin. You know, she's got a gun. And we do see, yep, MHT says, all right, well, we're going to battle in the Cantina. He'll pay 1 to retrieve a Control Tunnel Vision, which always a good card to get back. Greg loses a Force Field from reserve, which is whatever. He wasn't going to be able to play it this battle, and probably isn't really counting on playing it too often. There's the 5 to shoot Tarkin, so now his Battle Destiny is going to be a 4 and a blank, if memory serves, because it should be It Could Be Worse that he used on the Mara Drain last turn. I'll be honest, if Greg doesn't have an answer to that Kessel Drain this turn, this is over. Like, he's got to answer that drain. Yep, and there's the 4 for Battle Destiny. Look at me tracking like a boss. Not really, but whatever. And a 5, so yeah, he's probably not overflowing. I mean, that puts him at 16. The 5th brother forfeits for 6, I believe. Yeah, so he's at 14. Like, yeah, the 5 for Destiny. I expect he'll Boshek that down to a 4. Like, if you Boshek it down to a 4, you can just lose Val. Or you can leave it at a 5 and just lose Boshek. Okay. So he's going to Boshek it down to a 4. You're not causing overflow, but you are killing off both his guys. Oh, and actually, it is a 5 still, because it's +1 to the total with the Inquisitor. So you use it as a 5, drop it down 1 to get the 5. And I expect we'll see a move phase. I mean, you might just move it. Is it free? Is the shuffle still free? Yeah, I might just move everybody. Like, I don't think there's any reason to leave your guys in front of the sniper you know Greg has. Like, that's... We'll see, though. I mean, Matt's still in move phase, and that might be what he's thinking over is... Yeah, he's... Once you move Luke, you're moving everybody. Or you move Luke to get him away from the sniper, and then it's a... Is it worth leaving 3 smugglers there to risk the sniper and deal with that? And I don't think it is. And he shuttles Lando up to the wild card to add as a pilot, moves the wild card over to Kessel because, again, he knows Greg has the shuttle. He knows, I mean, he just lost Tarkin, so theoretically Greg can go shuttle Palpatine, Tarkin, draw 3 Battle Destiny, potentially make things hurt. But I'll be honest, if he doesn't do it this turn, I don't think he can win. Like, he might still be able to potentially win the game. He could try and turn this into a drain race, and, 6 is going to start to add up. But, like, Matt's going to retrieve 4 with the Kessel run during his turn, or during Greg's turn, if he doesn't kill him. And I can't see Greg winning. I certainly can't see Greg winning by 14 when he's only got 18 cards down. Like, that's just none of this works out the way he wants it to. And honestly, like, Matt may be sitting and going, if I don't retrieve with Kessel Run, I'm still okay with this. Like, I will just eat the... If he comes at him. Now, we see Greg left 2 in reserve. I think one of them is the 5. Excuse me. One is the 5. He drew 4 Battle Destiny that last battle, which would be good for going after him in space, but I don't think it clear. Like, Lando forfeits for 6. The wild card forfeits for 6. Drawing 2 Battle Destiny, they've got to both be crazy just to kill. And actually Han forfeits for 8 and the Falcon for 7, so you have to get a total of 16 before Matt can't finish the Kessel Run. And Matt just uses a force to use Mirax, so he says, I am not going to retrieve with the Kessel Run. I'm not even pretending to. So Greg says, here's the Emperor's shuttle. At Tatooine, where it's just Mirax. Okay. I mean, you get a... He had the Emperor's shuttle in hand. We knew he had the Emperor's shuttle in hand. He... that got revealed via a Talon card peek last turn. And there, MHC plays the perimeter scan from hand to get the Goldenrod shield, which will force Greg to pay 2. I think Greg's fine with paying 2. So there's the second sister. So these Destiny are going to be +2 because there's an Inquisitor and a Hatred card there. I guess. I mean, I'm... You're only drawing 1 Destiny there, which stinks a little bit. I guess you're counting on cracking Mirax's immunity and then maybe flying over to Kessel and risking that, I guess. Now we see the stack, and Mirax's game text is canceled. Matt says that 2 power she's adding isn't super important. And he'd already used her text, so he's fine with that. And here's Second Sister as a top-level action to... What the heck does she do? Lose a card. May place a Hatred card here in owner's lost pile to choose. Take any card from use pile into hand. Okay, so she lost the other Hatred card that was on Mirax, or she lost a Hatred card, doesn't really matter which one, to go grab any card from use pile. And there's Baron Fell, so Baron Fell's a solid little option. I kind of forgotten he forgot he existed. So Baron Fell is a passenger, however, which is a mistake because he loses the +3 power Fell would have added. That was a minor mistake. I think it was what it was, and Matt loses an all wings combo from reserve. He reacts Pain 3 for Chewy V. So now he's back to drawing 2 Battle Destiny, and without the Emperor on there, Greg's got no immunity. Or Greg's immune to less than 5. Baron Fell makes it immune to less than... No, Baron doesn't. Baron's only 1 piloting, isn't he? Yep, when piloting, it's immune to less than 5. He has no immunity up there right now. Yeah, Baron Fell not being a pilot was a mistake. I mean, that was a really good play by Matt. Matt's playing this very, very well. Matt is doing it exactly what he needs to. Yeah, new Baron is great if Greg doesn't... Oh, that's just insult to injury. And Greg concedes. Like, I did say I think he was done either way, but that was it. Congratulations to Matthew Harrison-Trainor advancing to the top 4 of the Champions League. This is a pretty standard for Matt now. It's like, oh, there's a GEMP tournament. Matt's going to be in the top 8, top 4, and see where it goes. But well played. You see them both great competitors and great guys saying, in chat, like, it's unfortunate. There's definitely some bad luck draws from Greg's end, and yeah, that last one was just horrendous. That 0 is, I said you couldn't pull it because you're giving away that Drain 2 system, but it stinks to have it sitting in reserve forever and ever. Again, congrats to you, Matthew Harrison-Trainor. And this is a well-played game by both players. A heck of a lot of fun to watch. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to my only slightly inane ramblings. Hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great weekend. I do believe we are streaming tomorrow with Sam Toshima in the Champions League. I forget who his opponent is. I think it's Sam and California guy whose name is completely escaping me right now because I didn't realize I was going to put myself on the spot like this. Played Thurner Mains. Super good player. Super nice guy. Shaw just said I also learned that Baron needs to be piloting. But yeah, so there'll be some more streaming tomorrow. Another Champions League match. And it will be awesome. And I hope you guys have a great day. And may the force be with you.